So, Bali Business Club, here we are again with Omri, Ben-Canaan.
Hi.
Today we're talking about the 7 factors that you have to take into account when acquiring leasehold or freehold or long-term rental.
Or
everything.
villa or anything or anything. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, like Gawain said, today we're going to talk about those 7 points. We made that list this morning, so hopefully we didn't forget something.
And it's also so intuitive. If you've been living here for a couple of years, you know these things naturally. But if you haven't been, these are the most important things to take into account. And so unique to Bali also. So
absolutely,
this is a must-watch episode if you've new. If you've been living here for under a year, this is a must-watch. So yeah, over to you.
All right. Well, let's do it. All right, guys. Hi again. So today, the 7 points that you must factor in when you acquire a property in Bali. Property being a bare land, like an empty piece of land, or it can be a villa. It does apply to, I guess, all of this apply to any kind of property. Yeah? So 7 points. We'll share that as well. Well, let's read them. Yeah. So point number 1, the neighbors. Point number 2, the view. Point number 3, noise pollution. Point number 4, area development plans. Point number 5, historical data and projections of those data. Number 6, water, electricity, trash, etc. And point 7 is community engagement. Okay, so let's now dive right in, go point by point. But before we start with point number 1, let's talk about the obvious, which is the notarized, the due diligence made by the notary.
The legal,
so
legal due diligence.
We didn't put it in there because this is you have to do it anyway. This is the most obvious thing that you must do. So includes the zoning, making sure the certificate is okay. What else? The
land area,
the
borders,
the neighbors. There's a whole bunch of factors that the notary will check that so the certificate is not as a collateral in the bank, because that happens a lot. I've had experiences which weren't bad experiences, but where the bank dude actually comes with the certificate in hand at the signing and only releases it when it's signed,
Oh, wow.
and when the money is transferred. Yeah.
But anyway, there's a good podcast to watch with Similia, the notary, on the technical side of things. So this is more like a soft diligence, as in what you should do yourself to make sure that you're buying the right land in the right area.
That's what's not in the book.
Yeah, it's not in the book.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's from experience and what you should know from our experience anyway. Okay, so point number 1. So due diligence is before, yeah? This is obvious.
Technical due diligence.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Legal.
Yeah.
Legal. Boom. Legal. Here. Okay, let's go point number 1. Neighbors. Yeah?
Love my neighbors. Why is that up there?
Yeah. Why? Okay, so let's take the example of land. Like right now in Kedungu, for example, there aren't so many things built. Yeah. So it's very important to imagine, to know who your neighbors are. Yeah.
So how do you find them? How would you find that out?
Hold on. Not necessarily know who they are. If you know that, that's even better. But it's sometimes very hard to know. There's not like a master registry of neighbors with the phone number and email of everyone. Yeah. Doesn't exist in Indonesia. So it's about knowing from. You get to understand that better, like from your agent, from the owner of the land that knows his neighbors. So it's good to do your due diligence on that as well. So
I suppose community.
Understand.
Also, Banjar would know those kinds of things.
Yeah.
How community active you are. So we'll get to that.
Sure. So understand what's going on around you, basically. So is your neighbor someone who has already a plan to build a 2 or 3-story building, for instance? Or is your neighbor, and by neighbor, it doesn't have to be like human beings. It can be businesses. It can be forests or rivers or we wrote neighbor. It's like neighboring stuff, basically. So if you have a river next to your land, for instance, it's important to know what's happening with this river, like when the rainy season comes. Like, does it overflows? Does it stays as is? For sure, it overflows. They all overflow. What's happening usually when you have a river? So your land is like this, and the river is here, and then you have another land here. In most cases, what's going to happen there? Does this land have an access? Who in your neighbors, in the neighboring land, who has an access? Okay, and that bring us to point number 2, which is the view. Okay.
So I suppose, well, just before we jump on, so neighbors could be good, as in it's very residential, they're settled, they're already developed, you know who they are. And neighbors could be extremely bad, as in you could end up with a massive either beach club, which I suppose we'll get to here, or some big hotel or construction, and right in front of your view.
The biggest risk is people building up and building noisy stuff. That's the biggest risk,
So it's view and noise as your two
which is point number 2 and number 3.
Yeah, well, there you go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there you go.
There you go. I think that's why I put them in that order.
Okay. Now this makes sense.
Yeah. All right, point number 2. So the view. Everyone in Bali, me included, back in the day, not anymore, was like, okay, I'm in Bali. I want an amazing view, the rice field, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. That's great if you buy a land in Munduk or in Sidemen or whatever, If you buy in along the coast here, don't think about the view. Or at least understand that you will lose it at some point. It's not an if, it's a when. So if you look at areas like Seminyak, when I came into Bali in '94, Seminyak was a giant rice field. There was a couple of streets, Jalan Legian and Dianapura was a rice field still. Jalan Gado, Dianapura. So nobody would have thought that it was going to be overbuilt. Like right now, there's one piece of grass in Seminyak, So, and Canggu is the same. Canggu still have a little patches of rice fields here and there. There's the new road behind the Canggu shortcut that goes to the Pepito and Batubolong, back street. It's pretty handy. Lots of rice field there. Mark my words, in 1 year, you don't see any more grass. For sure, there will be a little bit in between the houses, the developments, but like the main street will be covered with businesses.
Yeah, when I first moved here, that was my first mistake I made. I was always trying to find a rice paddy view, and then I would be destroyed with construction right in front of me, and I'd have to move again.
So there's a trick, actually. I didn't think about this when I wrote this, but I'll let you know in a second. So it's very important to understand that your view is not here to last. So what does that mean? That means when you do your architectural plans with your architect, you can do a house that's open with how do you call it, the pool overflow,
like al fresco living inside outside over or something. But it's
the overflowing pool, infinity pools actually. The infinity pool with a beautiful rice field in front. Okay, great, do it. But understand this: that when someone will build, maybe not in 2 years, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. There will be a wall here. So your plans have to also work with potential construction around the house. So it's very important. So that's about the view. So in Kedungu, like we're very active in Kedungu, there are lots of amazing views. I myself have some land with views. I make, for the villas that I build, I always make usually like a glass wall where the view is, and eventually we'll build a normal wall when someone builds in front, Even in front of green zone. Green zone tend to, tend to become yellow very quickly in Indonesia. Okay, so the trick. I did that once, and I was lucky. But what I did, it was in Tumbak Bayou, maybe a few years back. What I did is I acquired a piece of land. It was 7 ara, I remember. I paid very cheap back in the day, 4 million per ara. I was just before COVID, I think. And now it's like way more.
It's a nice area, actually.
Yeah,
I love that area.
And what I did is I did what's called a lease view. So I went to the owner of the land in front, who didn't have an access, or access was very complicated. So I said, okay, there's a good chance he accept my deal.
Access is actually probably something we should touch on also, because that's a very foreign thing to buyers. Yeah.
After.
Yeah.
But access is part of the legal diligence.
Yeah, but what is it and how does
what I did is I had my 7-ara plot, and what I did, I went to see the owner with my neighbors, and we leased from him 40 ara, so 20 each, of land for the period of 30 years. My deal was 30 years for 1 million per ara per year.
Oh wow! Just to maintain the view.
Yeah, just to maintain the view. Eventually, we ended up paying well, and there was an installment on 24 years.
Oh wow!
It was ridiculous.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, and eventually we said, okay, we just pay you everything at once, and we pay like 200 million total or something like that.
Oh,
so, so that's a good thing. And what I did at some point, instead of looking for land that were buildable, I was looking for green zones. And whenever I see a land that whose view, which were my view, I would look at the land on the buildable side and try to get it. You know, and that way, so you get the land at a normal price, and then you get the green zone for super cheap, and you can extend your garden. You can do a bunch of things on it, or keep it as a view just to protect your view.
I mean, that takes your property price up to the next level if you can maintain your view for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah.
You keep the view, and you can use...
It's almost like your property.
You can use... It is your property. You go and notarize it.
You just can't build, but
it's a great way to have a massive garden as well. Okay, so that's the view. Noise pollution. So...
This is a killer. This is a killer in Bali.
You're not going to like what I say now. Everyone that comes to Bali say, I want to be next to the beach.
Yeah.
All right, that's the biggest mistake you should you will do. Yeah, do not go next to the beach. I mean, it depends where in Bali, of course. I'm talking here about the coast, Seminyak, Canggu, Perenan, and so on. So
but even so, more up the coast.
Yeah.
So what is the coast? Would you say 200, 100?
Okay, let's say why first. So if you go close to the beach, you will pay more expensive. Okay, the price of the properties are more expensive near the beach. Sure. In Kedungu, at the moment, I've seen some 17, 18 million rupiah, not far from the beach, whereas you can find like 11, 12, 13, a little bit further in Benkel, for instance, which is perfectly fine. So first, you will pay a premium on the price of the land, and secondly, right now Kedungu is very quiet, or Sese or Chemagi, but beach clubs will come. The same way as you will lose your view, you will lose your sanity. Your sanity or your.
And there is no things like regulation, police coming to turn.
Forget regulations.
Forget about it.
Yeah. So it's very important to understand. I mean, look at in Brawa, for instance, not even 8 years, like 5-6 years ago, where Fins and Atlas.
It was all residential.
It was all residential. Fins existed before. Fins was a villa before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a big villa that was transformed into a beach club. Yeah.
Wow.
And Atlas, there were a few villas, and there were all the little beach bars that were so cool. The Brekele, not the Machan, I forgot the names. Anyway, so all these places were bought up by Otman Paris or whatever his name is, and they did the Atlas. Imagine living in a house, in a villa next to Atlas. Actually, there is one. If you go into Atlas and you go to the very end and you look over the fence, there's a massive, beautiful villa, massive, maybe 50 ara or something.
Oh, wow.
Nothing in there. Empty, because it's too much noise.
Yeah.
I went to Café Del Mar. I went to visit a villa next to Café Del Mar. So if you're in Café Del Mar looking at the ocean, you have the river here, and there's a villa here, and like an old school Seminyak villa style,
like
when the beachfront was super cheap, It's maybe almost 1 hectare. And I talked to the maid. So the agent was like, amazing villa, blah, blah, blah. The villa is amazing. You look at it, it's like, wow, And then I talked to the man, and she goes like, No.
3 a.m. you'll be.
Yeah, not 3 a.m. Like 6 p.m. is finished here. The noise is crazy. You can't live in there.
But that doesn't even, I mean, it's not even the big clubs you got to worry about. It's just like a normal, like bistro, you know, like a restaurant.
Yeah.
A vibey restaurant can open up.
I mean, the clubs is the most scary thing because they put the decibels, yeah.
But if you go right next door to live music or karaoke or something,
you're dead.
You're
dead, yeah. Not too close to the main roads. So my land where I'm building my villa is a bad example in Kedungu, next to Salty Cowboy, because it's like right on the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But
that will be. But you
don't follow my example.
You're going to build right back off the road, no?
No, I'm going to make some buildings in front, like commercial, and then the villa in the back, yeah. With a big, I mean, it's quite a big land, it's 14 aras, so I'll have a bit of a setback, yeah. Hopefully it'll be enough. Okay, so noise pollution, yeah. Don't go too close to the shore, because even though it might feel more attractive to be close to the beach, it might destroy entirely your sanity and your business if it's a villa that you build for business or.
But also, like the main commercial road, something to look at. Just be careful because there will be restaurants and bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
All up.
Got to be the second line or third line behind the road at least, because it's noisy. Perenan, before we moved our offices here, that little house in front of our parking, that was my house. And I used to be upset when I hear one bike per day. And now it's like crazy. Yeah. That poor guys that have the white villa on the road next to Wasabi, I don't know what's happening with them. But, All right, okay. So point 1, 2, 3, we just saw that. So let's go to point number 4, area development plans. So choose your area contingent on what you know about what is going to happen next in that area. In places like Canggu, Seminyak, whatever, it's already too late, I want to say. Like it's already done. I mean, it's already fully developed. There's construction everywhere. There isn't a plan. There wasn't a plan to start with. There isn't a plan now. So there won't be bad surprises there. The only bad surprise is this one that will not be close to the beach, but like inland. If you live next to black sand, I wouldn't want to be next to black sand. I love these guys. I love the black sand owners, Atlas owners, and Fields owner. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, you don't want to live next to these guys. So you have to understand how it's going to develop. So, and we come back to what you just said, sir. The main street. Okay, so if you look at Batu Bolong, for instance, Batu Bolong, maybe like 5-6 years ago, you would have said, okay, I'm not too close to the ocean, I'm fine. Yeah, but Black Sand is not next to the ocean. Black Sand is like 2-3 kilometers in, maybe 2 kilometers in. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that had properties around in the middle of nowhere, and then suddenly some big nightclub opens.
Well, yeah, I mean, in that case, there's a good time to sell also because it's...
Yeah, but who is going to buy?
Well, commercial, F&B.
It's harder. So very important to know what's going on. For example,
how do you know this?
Well, you got to search and talk to people.
So it's this one.
Yeah, we'll come back to this one after. But area development plans, talk to local people on the ground. Not only local as in Indonesian local, but foreigners also that lives there, like expat that lives there, or anyone can give you some
just phone
valuable
Omri.
Information.
We'll put his number at the bottom. Phone him if you...
My number is 2. Okay, so Kedungu is very important to know what the plans are. Okay, look, example, Kedungu, I think everyone is interested to know that there's going to be a school there, right? Because this is a game changer for the area. This is a school that we are developing there. It's being built right now. So that's a huge game changer for the area because it means you can bring your kids. It means probably what's around the school won't be night stuff. It would be more like shops and cafes, cafes and stuff. Yeah. So that's those kind of things. It's important.
And also for footfall. I mean, kids getting picked up daily to and from. It's a lot of footfall for the area. From the school. So.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so that's number 4. Let's try to keep it short. Number 5, historical data projections. So that's more on if you're building your dream villa and you're going to live in it for the rest of your life, that doesn't really matter. But if it always matters, but not as much as if you have a business or if you want to make your villa a business. If you want to do some Airbnb or if you want to rent it for a longer term or whatever, it's important. Or if you want to flip it, if you want to build a house or not build a house, if you just want to land bank, and it's important that you understand where you come from and where it's going. So we have, and I think they're on the Kenungu Fund website as well. You have data from different areas. Like I think we have Brawa, Batu Bolong, Perenan, right? So you can see the different areas and the price points on for leasehold, for commercial and residential in the past 5-10 years. Something like
most
that.
good property agents will not have that data information. Not
all agents have that, unfortunately. And also we talked about that. Don't trust all the agents. Yeah.
No.
They will tell you what you want to hear. Yeah. Love you guys, but the agents, I mean, be careful. Okay, so important to know. For example, if you go to Kenungu today someone will tell you, okay, the price is 13 million. Okay, you have to understand how it got to 13 million. So a year ago it was 5 million. So it did almost 2.5x in 1 year. And it will get, in 1 year, it will do another 2x or something like that, yeah? So it's important to understand that data, to apply it to your business so you know what your bottom line is going to look like in 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 5 years, you know? So that way you can make a plan. You can say, okay, I'm putting $100,000 down now, and that $100,000 is going to look like, it's going to become $250,000 in so many years. And with that money, I'm going to buy this and that, and so on and so forth. So you make like a 10-year plan. So let's say,
retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly. All right, point number 6, water, electricity, trash.
Also a big topic of contention at the moment, some of these factors, mainly down south, but problems. Can be problematic.
So we put that, especially to talk about water, on the Bukit. So the Bukit is the peninsula that's attached to the main,
it's Uluwatu, really.
Yeah, it's the south of Bali, the little put in the back, at the bottom.
Surfers love the place.
Yeah, so the Bukit doesn't have water. Plain and simple. You have if you want to have water, you have to dig the height of the cliff, which is sometimes 100 meters or more. And then you have to dig more.
Well, Bukit means mountain.
Water.
Yeah,
Bukit means mountain.
Yeah, so getting water fundamentally on a mountain is not an easy thing to do. Well, so they have to truck it in.
There are some what do you call it, plates? Yeah, water plates, water sources and water plates.
Like pools of.
But on the Bukit, you won't find it. So what happens then? And we come back to this. Bukit is a very good example. So there's no water. So the only way you can get water is by buying it. Okay. So if you buy it, they bring it by trucks, and the system works perfectly fine. Yeah, you can get your water every month or 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah. The problem with that is that the more development there is, the more water is needed, the more trucks are on the road. And those roads are not getting any bigger.
No, and the trucks are getting a lot more common. I was there last weekend. It's chaos.
It's just full of water trucks, and it will be way more than now in 1, 2, 3 years, because people are just, going to book it.
And it's dangerous. I mean, those trucks fly down those roads, mountain roads, and they're all full of water, and they're,
I don't want to be one of them. Behind one of them. So that's something to consider. So in the Bukit, the water is linked to the area development plans. Is it possible to build a metro in the Bukit? It's not possible. We know that. So it can only go up to Jimbaran or Nusa Dua on the left, on the right, if you look at the map. But it cannot go inside the Bukit where Uluwatu, Bingin, Melasti, Pandawa, whatever, impossible. So it can only be above ground transportation. And right now, and we know in Bali above ground transportation are never getting better, or rarely. There's no room to build a sunset road on the Bukit. So only those roads are going to stay like that. So I'm sure there will be, they will attempt to come with boats, and there's already like the company Go Boat that's going to Uluwatu from Canggu.
I think one sunk.
Small stuff like that. A few sunk, I think. So water, electricity. So electricity is pretty easy to get as long as you're not too far from one of the PLN poles. PLN is the Indonesian National Electrical Company. Trash. Trash is
a big headache.
That's a big headache. It's not such a big headache. If you want to do it the right way, it's a headache. If you don't care about the trash and you don't care about the planet and you're not recycling, so you call BUMDES. It's called BUMDES, BUMDES, and they are affiliated with government, and they are the one that will come and pick up your trash. So if you don't want to recycle, then BUMDES, they're not recycling.
But it all just goes down to the dump in Serangan.
It's I don't know. It goes to somewhere you don't want to know. I don't know. But there are other companies like Eco Bali, for instance. There's a few others. These guys are doing an amazing job. But sometimes, like for example, in Perenan, BUMDES has the monopoly of trash. A signed agreement to have the monopoly of trash, which I find completely outrageous. So if you, for example, I don't do it, but my neighbors who are crazy recyclers, so they have a company that takes their trash out of Perenan, and then BUMDES pick it up, or they go directly to not BUMDES, sorry, Eco Bali. It's a bit too much for me. Anyway, so and then seventh point, we added it because we think it's not a deal breaker, or it's something that maybe you want to look into. Some areas have a very strong and a very tight-knit community, mainly around expats. I mean, we are addressing our
Banjar
users
is a community in itself.
No, I'm talking community, expat community. So, for example, in Perenan, we have a WhatsApp group, like multi subgroups, whatever. There's like 750 residents are on the group, so it's very easy to communicate with one. Everyone is on the group. Banja is on the group. Desa is on the group. All the government officials. Banja means city hall. All the government officials are not all, but many are on the group. So it's super easy to communicate, and it kind of like bridge the gap between the local community and the expat community.
It also keeps everybody very well aware of all these other things.
Exactly.
And it's helpful. You can
absolutely. So you can. It's important. I thought it's nicer to be in an area where you have a strong community, so you can get help for some stuff. People can give you advice on other things like don't buy there, or this guy is a douche,
or
whatever.
Noise here coming, and something.
Exactly, you'll get a lot of information from those guys. So it's important, and I know that I know because I'm part of the process as well. But like in Kedougou, for instance, and in Perenan, but we got a lot of people. I mean, there's a ton of valuable information in those communities. So talk to people that live there. Whether they are local or again, we said that earlier, whether they are local or they're expat, probably easier for you guys to talk to the expat, because I'm guessing a lot of our viewers are expats. But it's important to talk to everyone. Try to get various information from different people. Don't believe this one dude. Believe a few of them. Yeah. So well, that's it.
I think that covers things all.
I think we have.
It's pretty intuitive, as I said, if you've been here a long time, but really essential. And especially these kinds of things, just to know, because you can make a really big mistake. You get here, you're overexcited, you got a little bit of money to spend, you buy a villa, and it's just a disaster. and a lot of pain and suffering involved.
I think if you go through these points, I mean, you probably won't be able to cover all of these points, and there's always a little bit of gray area here, gray area there. You might not know the community, but at least you have that in mind. You have like a little roadmap where you're like, okay, so the view, check. Due diligence, of course, check. Neighbors, check. Noise pollution. So it gives you an incentive to think about things a little bit outside the box, and that you may not have thought about if you didn't watch that podcast.
Exactly.
So I hope that helps, and don't forget to subscribe if you like what we talk about, and feel free to write to us if you have some questions about or some topic, suggestion on topic that you would like us to discuss and make a podcast about. We'd love to hear from you, and comment below, share, and see you next time.
Thank you, Gawain. What's our next one about?
Oh, if only I knew.
This is a golden nugget, I think, next time. So keep your eyes out for that, and subscribe below, and we'll let you know. Yeah?
And perhaps the next one, we are in our new studio.
Ah, yes.
So we are building a state-of-the-art podcast studio in 2 rooms from here that costs us a lot of money. I hope it's useful. And hopefully you will enjoy and like the surrounding.
We will a lot more than standing.
Standing in my office. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.